Hi, it's John, and welcome to the channel. 5:42 a.m. Hope you're having a great day today. I've got my big blue mug of coffee. Friday, June the 27th. Haven't given up the coffee yet. I think I'm going to cut back later in the day to save a few bucks. I mentioned yesterday I can hardly afford the cream anymore. Everything's so unaffordable in this country. But it is a great day today as we go into the weekend. I was just looking at the calendar. Tuesday is Canada Day, and I was thinking it could be one of the final Canada Days we celebrate here in Alberta because we're expecting an independence vote next year. Today's video is a good news video, despite the fact that there's lots of stuff in here that's really bad. I'm not sure exactly what the thumbnail is going to be for this video. I haven't made it yet. Something like, thank you, Mark Carney and Liberal Party of Canada. Something like that. Continue to do what you're doing, because if they continue to do what they're doing for the people who live in Canada, a new vote could be coming sooner before later, and maybe a new government, although I don't think it will be much better. A little bit with the Conservatives, but I think Canada's lost. For the independence movement, we've got more fodder to convince people we need to get out of Canada. No disrespect to Canada, no disrespect to you, but we're like the neighbor who lives next door. We're good friends, but we're in a different house. So let's look at a few things that the Liberals are doing right now. And it just goes to show it's the same party. We told you, if you voted for these people, it's the same party, the same lies, the same waste, the same corruption, different coat of paint. Mark Carney, it's the same government that screwed up Canada for 10 years, and you voted for it because Donald Trump lives rent-free in your brain. Shame on you. First story. You heard this one. Federal Infrastructure Bank provided $1 billion in financing for BC Ferry's purchase of 4 new Chinese-made ships. $1 billion to the communist Chinese when we can build things here in Canada. Canada strong, folks. Now, I'm going to take you back to June 11th with this. And listen to what he's talking about in this video, okay? Because it's much worse than what he talks about. It's $1 billion we're talking about here. Back on June 11th, the amount of money he was talking about was disgraceful. And it's now disgraceful to the nth degree.
Member for Cowichan, Mellahut, Langford.
Mr. Speaker, BC Ferries just announced that they will purchase 4 new full-sized ferries from a Chinese state-owned company rather than from a proven Canadian shipbuilder such as Seaspan in North Vancouver. Yet the Liberals are set to hand over $30 million to BC Ferries, while BC Ferries hands over critical jobs, investment in industry to China. Will the Liberals attach a common sense condition of buying Canadian-built ships to BC Ferries in order to receive their $30 million subsidy?
Great.
He's talking about a $30 million subsidy from the federal government to BC Ferries. $30 million, and it was ridiculous then. But what did Chrystia Freeland have to say about this? Listen to what she says.
Mr. Speaker,
And look at her face. I think she knows the $1 billion is gone.
I want to thank the member opposite for that important question. I absolutely share his concern when it comes to government procurement at all levels. Now is a time when we need to support Canadian workers and Canadian industries.
Now is the time when we need to support Canadian workers and Canadian industries.
And we need to work closely with our allies and trade partners. That project, Mr. Speaker, was not a federal government project.
This woman has no shame. You realize why she quit as the finance minister, because the job is going to be handed over to Mark Carney, who's now the prime minister of this country. How she can still be a liberal and be in this party after the way they treated her, she has no shame whatsoever. Here's Ezra Levant. Sounds like Mark Carney is doing some favors for his Chinese friends. Canada borrows money to subsidize China to compete against our own shipbuilders, all while they have 100% tariffs on our canola. A disgrace in every way. I don't believe, now you can maybe put something in the description, I don't believe the word canola has passed the lips of Mark Carney. I know Scott Moe in Saskatchewan's pissed off about it. I mentioned yesterday they're now going all in on mines because of the climate economy I think Mark Carney is trying to put in place here in Canada, but they won't commit to oil pipelines. Alberta and Saskatchewan, wake up. Here's next. Failed New Zealand scheme is cautionary tale for Carney's home building agency report. So Carney wants to create a massive government program to build houses. And instead of letting the people who know how to do it, the real estate industry, build houses, Carney thinks he can create this massive bureaucracy to build houses in this country. Kiwi Build had a goal of building 100,000 affordable housing units in a decade. It completed just 2,389 units by 2024. One of the reasons why Jacinda Ardern's government fell. But this is the part in the story I want to read to you. Carney has promised billions in subsidies to prefabricated and modular home builders as part of his plan to double the rate of housing construction and build 500,000 new homes a year within a decade. Carney, Brookfield, Modulaire. Look it up online. I've shown pictures of the modular homes. They are nothing more than shipping containers stacked on top of each other. And Carney's going to give money, probably to his friends, to enrich them and probably enrich himself. Next story. The Building Canada Act will likely make things worse, not better. This is Bill C-5, folks. And this is an amazing article going on about how complete control is gone to Mark Carney and his cabinet to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to different projects. They could have gotten rid of Bill C-69 and Bill C-48. That's the No New Pipelines law. That's the tanker ban. They could have just gotten rid of those things and we could have started building things. Now they have complete control. We go down here in the article. Consider the ambiguity in the legislation and how it empowers discretionary decisions by the cabinet. Cabinet may consider any factor it considers relevant, including the extent to which the project can strengthen Canada's autonomy, resilience, and security, or provide economic benefits to Canada, or advance the interest of Indigenous peoples, or contribute to the clean growth and to meeting Canada's objectives with respect to climate change. With such criteria, nearly anything Cabinet or the Prime Minister can dream up could be deemed in the national interest, and therefore provide the Prime Minister with unprecedented and near unilateral powers. In the preamble to the legislation, the government says it wants an accelerated approval process that enhances regulatory certainty and investor confidence. In all likelihood, Bill C-5 will do the opposite. It will put more power in the hands of a very few members of the government, encourage cronyism, risk outright corruption, and make Canada even less attractive to investment. Now, we go back to the top of this article, and you look at the date on it. June 26th, the Building Canada Act would likely make things worse. Same day, June 26th, Senate adopts Carney's fast-track major projects bill well before Canada Day deadline. Now, the Kool-Aid drinkers who supported this party love this. They think this is great. This is dangerous. Shame on the Conservatives for supporting it. Of course, we can move on to this story. We don't have to go too deep into this. Electric vehicle mandate risks being next carbon tax without adjustments. EV industry warns. You betcha. Down here, see if I can find the part. While manufacturers have long expressed opposition to the government mandating the sale of electric vehicles, Ford Canada CEO Bev Goodman recently called for the regulation to be scrapped in light of falling sales of these vehicles. The only way they sell is if you subsidize people to buy them. The only people who can afford to buy them are people who have a lot of money, because these vehicles are too expensive for people who live on modest incomes to buy them in the first place. So within 10 years, you're not going to be able to buy the car you want in this country. I see so many people online who think this is just fine. They want Big Daddy government to dictate what they can do, what they can buy, what they can drive. The Kool-Aid drinkers. Is this really what you want? Next story. Questions raised over a $258,000 table for the G7 summit. I'm not going to go deeply into this. This was the table they were sitting around during the summit. A Calgary furniture builder got paid $250,000 to build a freaking table and some other tables for this meeting. This is your government at work. Meanwhile, over here, desire to leave Canada has never been higher in Alberta. Premier Danielle Smith says, listen, folks, despite what you heard over the last week after the by-elections on Monday, this movement is growing. I put a call out yesterday to set up another interview with one of the independent speakers. I mentioned his name yesterday. Jeff Rath might be on the show hopefully soon. But this movement is growing, folks. And the more we see stuff like this, the sooner independence comes for Alberta, and the sooner those of you in Canada can get rid of this government. Now, here's the last thing. Here's the kicker. I like kickers. Let's go back to December 2nd, 2024. Here we go.
Prime Minister, was it a productive meeting with President-elect?
It was an excellent conversation.
And Fox has exclusive details about how that Mar-a-Lago sit-down went. The two talked tariffs over crab cocktail and oysters. At one point, Trump told Trudeau to get our trade deficit under control, telling the prime minister it is unacceptable for the U.S. to run up to like a $100 billion trade deficit. And if they don't, they can expect a flat 25% tariff on all Canadian goods day one. Trudeau apparently wasn't thrilled. Sacre bleu, you will kill our economy, he said. Then Trump said if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S., they're free to join America as our 51st state.
December 2nd, 2024. Pierre Poilievre riding high in the polls at that time. Justin Trudeau sitting down a few days later with some of the premiers, not my premier, who was trying to be diplomatic in dealing with Donald Trump and ended up getting a drop in the tariffs on our oil and gas industry from 25 to 10%. December, January, February, March, April, May, June. All those months have gone by. The great negotiator, Mark Carney, said the other day, it's not likely they're going to come up with a deal on these tariffs in the next 30 days. Mr. Carney, Liberal Party of Canada, keep doing what you're doing. Because the people of Canada want to vote again to get rid of you, and they will soon. And the people of Alberta want our independence. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next one.